Hello everyone and welcome to this reading. So please excuse me, my brain is still waking up, but I'm trying my best right now. So I may be a little bit all over the place. Also, Persephone is just sneezing for no reason right now, but it's fine. So today's reading is going to be about your true north, or I guess your sort of fated direction in this lifetime. I guess it kind of depends on like how certain people feel about fate, but I believe that we all have a place that we're meant to be and a place that we're going. So this is sort of how, like, where you're going and potentially like the steps along the way, of course, but it's just like that sort of fated point that you're getting to. So we have 3 piles. This is the Mystic Mondays Tarot with, I believe this is a chunk of tiger's eye. Oops, is it gonna focus? It looks a little bit like dusty for some reason. I don't know. And then this is the Hush Tarot with blue apatite on it. I love this stone. I really want more blue apatite, but I just don't have the space for any more crystals, unfortunately. It's kind of a problem, but. And then this is, the Every Little Thing You Do is Magic Tarot, and my favorite crystal is fluorite. And look at the bands in there. That's so cool. So I'm gonna let you guys decide which pile or crystal you're most drawn to, and then I will meet you at your reading. Okay, pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose the Mystic Mondays Tarot or this piece of tiger's eye, then this is going to be a reading. I just have to apologize if you hear my cat right now. She's, I know I say it in every video, but I have 2 cats and a dog, and they're crazy. So, and they like to hang around when I do these readings. But I'm gonna set aside this for now. We're gonna jump into your oracles. I tried to have self-control, okay? I tried to have self-control about the oracle cards because I'm trying to film this all in one go. So I will say, like, I don't want this reading to get super duper long and super rambly as I tend to do, which I'm already doing just because I'm running on borrowed time. I don't have like a real camera or a real tripod or anything, so it's not a great setup, but your first card is Atlantis. Keep the big vision. Stay in alignment as you grow. Oh, I did want to preface this, Melanie, by just saying the energy in general when I was like shuffling for this pile was definitely giving, and I could be like dead wrong, but I don't think I am. It was definitely giving like healer vibes in some ways. I was getting a lot of earth energy from this pile, and potentially like heavy 6th house placements or 10th house placements. Definitely Virgo and Capricorn were coming through really, really strong. I was getting the energy of someone who pulls themselves in so many directions to take care of other people. But is like, there's an energy of being like burnt out or like almost becoming resentful about it. Like, you know, this is for you, that you know this is what you're supposed to be doing, but it's so exhausting to do it that you can't help but become a little bit resentful, and you're like, why can't other people pick up the slack? So yeah, I mean, I don't know, we can see what the rest of the cards say, but definitely Capricorn vibes, Virgo coming through, so Saturn and Mercury as well. Those placements could be significant, or 6th house and 10th house placements, but definitely there was like the vibe of like a healer in some capacity, or at least the theme of healing and being able to find the balance between healing others and healing yourself. If that Makes sense. My little octopus. She has a mark on her forehead. Okay, we have believe in the impossible with blue moon. We have passion for purpose. Your heart is questing for deeper meaning. It desires certainty as, wait, yeah, no, that was right. As to your sacred task for this lifetime, I call to you now, the you that is beyond your mind, the you that is your heart. To that you, I ask, what stirs the passions of your nature? Do that, be that. Maybe you've been feeling a little bit directionless lately. Maybe that's why you're at this, reading. You're looking for clarity on where you're supposed to go. And there is sort of a scattered energy coming through. I don't know, it's something with frustration. Just like you're frustrated with where you're at in your life right now, and you're frustrated with almost how people are treating you. Like, what makes you happy, but it's like some people are taking advantage of that. And there's almost this energy of, if this is like what is meant for me, if this is what my life is going to be like from now on, like, I don't want it. Maybe you got yourself in a career that you thought was like really for you, and it's not that you don't enjoy it and you're not passionate about it, but it feels like it's definitely not what you expected, or the outcome is like less than what you expected. But there's a heavy feeling of frustration and someone who's just like almost ripping their hair out because like they feel like they're blindsided by fate, blindsided by spirit. You could be like, what the fuck? Like, this is absolutely not what I signed up for. Anyways, we have bleeding heart coming through. Let me tell you, this card keeps coming out for me, or it kept coming out for me. People who say like tarot's not real and stuff like that, you've never like repeatedly given yourself similar readings and had spirit yell at you and just like had the same cards flip out over and over again until you're like, okay, fine, I get your point. Side tangents, side rants. I'm gonna get the rest of the cards, and then I also want to pull some slips of paper just because I didn't get as many cards today. And I have to fill in the gaps somewhere for fun, okay guys? Anyways, we have autumn. Oh my goodness, Biscoff is turning himself into a ball right now. We have the 4th house. So that's Cancer. Cancer placements, 4th house placements. The moon could be significant. Maybe even working with the cycles of the moon, which I'm not super well versed on, but I feel like I should probably get into. And we also have the song Colorblind by Movements. So I always say, please listen to the songs, because put them there for a reason. And personally, music is like very much entwined with spirituality for me. So I also apologize if you can't really, I'm working with not a lot of space here. I'm hopefully going to be able to change my setup. I have like another little table. I like this table too, but it's just not as big. Okay, let's get some of these guys. So these are just little slips of paper that can add context or be confirmations that this is your reading. And just get a few and see what's up. Oh, they're falling everywhere. I do this because I refuse to throw out these like little jars. After I get them, they're really cute. If you couldn't tell, I'm a Pisces. Okay. So we have 777. This is my favorite number. Hello? It's not gonna focus. I don't really know to a T what these numbers all mean because there's so many. But I just like that one. I like the vibe of it, you know? We have timing. We have control. I just love that the camera's not focusing. Shelled out like nearly $400 for a new phone because I broke mine spontaneously, and I'm just not impressed with this phone, to be honest. Did not want to do that, but it's fine. We have angel. We have kitty, so you could have a cat. Oh, that almost felt like a pet name though. Maybe you call someone kitty in your life. It doesn't have to be like a romantic pet name. It could be just a nickname for anyone, but it definitely felt like that was a name that was given to someone. Maybe someone's name is Catherine. That just came through as being potentially significant, and that's a nickname for that. We have 9 p.m. Okay. Let me get a sip of my energy drink and then we'll jump into it. Melody decided to lay down right next to me and is now mad because I can't find a place to put my foot that isn't in her space. But anyways, now she's playing with Persephone's bowl. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so one thing I want to point out is, again, that feeling of something or someone is taking advantage came through heavy with this. In some way, I don't know why. This song is like pretty, I don't want to say tragic, but it can be about loss. It can be about not really recognizing, or it is about that rather. I will say it can be because music is so up to interpretation, but it's about not really recognizing what you have while you have it. And I almost think that that's like the way that you're feeling towards other people, is this like feeling of no one really recognizes or appreciates me in the way that I want them to, or no one is recognizing the efforts that I'm putting out or what I'm doing for them. It's just like a lack of recognition and of reciprocity in things, which is like kind of where I think I was getting that like Capricornian 10th house placement coming through as well, because that house can be about like our public recognition, and it feels like there is a lack of that. There's a lack of being seen, and there's a lack of people looking at the effort that you're putting in and like really seeing it for what it is that it's taxing on you. So maybe if you work in a healing profession, I'm almost getting like in a hospital or something like that, you're in a nurse, you are a nurse in like one of those environments where it's very like fast paced and demanding, and you're wondering like, is this the direction that I want to continue to go in? I am so burnt out. It is that feeling of like you have what you thought you wanted, but now it's wearing on you. And oh goodness, just speaking as someone who also like kind of works, well, I do work in healthcare, I'm just like adjacent, I'm not like a provider or anything, but coming from someone who's like worked in a clinic where there were NPs and stuff, where I was like, why are you even an NP? You know, sometimes I feel like people get into that profession or like a profession in healthcare, and I'm just gonna say, I'm in the US. I do not know what it's like in other countries, and I can bet you that it is so very different. And I just want to make that clear, is that I'm speaking from the place of someone who is in the United States, and we are in a very particular bubble when it comes to our healthcare and the functionality of that system. And I'm sure it's true everywhere that there are people who go into that profession that aren't really as passionate as they should be about it, or go into it and feel overwhelmed because of the way that the system functions and works. But yeah, I remember talking to like an NP one time, and I was like, why'd you even like get into this? It just seems like so much. And he was like, oh, well, I wanted the paycheck and the money and da-da-da. And I don't think that's you, but maybe it's people around you, and so you're becoming disillusioned. But it's a hard profession. And specifically speaking, if you are in something like that, if you are in like the medical field and you're feeling very worn down about that, not to say that you can't feel worn down if you're in an adjacent profession or something else, but it's heavy coming through, something to do with medicine, something to do with like healing, potentially like mental health, psychiatry, maybe you're a therapist. Trying to think. But yeah, whatever it is, it feels like it is overwhelming. It is wearing you down and you're becoming disillusioned. And I guess this is in regards to, because I wasn't really sure how this reading is going to play out. And so right now I'm seeing like the oracle cards are like more so where you're at currently, at least for this pile, as opposed to where your true north is. But one thing that I do see that where you need to go from here is this fourth house is like giving me, this is where you need to go. So the fourth house is like all about family. It can be about, because it's Cancer, right? So it makes me think of going sort of inward, rest, recuperation, creating a stable home environment for you to recharge. I'm trying to think. I can't exactly, my brain is like fizzling out right now. Crazy, because I woke up like an hour ago and I just don't have any energy already, which is super fun. But yeah, it definitely gives me like the vibe of like focus on your friends, your family, focus on your home, focus on that sort of stuff in your immediate control, because this external thing, this job, I really feel like it's a job, or at the very least like maybe a hobby or like a person or something that's like really just sucking your soul out. It feels like it's just like taking pieces of you. Like by the end of the day, you're so tired and you just like, you don't have energy for anything else. So there's a need to recoup and recharge. And maybe this is a wake-up call, like, this isn't meant for me. Like, I need something on a smaller scale, or I need something that allows me to focus more so on myself. Because that fourth house placement is coming through very, very strong. And being able to also have a protective barrier around people and things and energies. Like with Cancer, they have that hard shell because on the inside, they are so sensitive and so deeply feeling. They can't have anyone or anybody or anything have access to all of that energy and emotion. So there's also something about being able to energetically and emotionally and potentially even physically remove yourself from something that is really draining you and sort of focus on a smaller scale thing in your life, you know? Not to say that like family or like your home life is a small scale thing, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, it does pare things down. It's about paring things down is what I'm feeling. Like there's too much going on right now. You're feeling so exhausted and overwhelmed, being pulled in so many directions. You feel like your work is not like people aren't recognizing it for what it is. And I think that the message coming through is you can continue on, but ultimately, like, it's not going to change, unfortunately. Whatever profession you're in, whatever thing you're doing or going at, it doesn't feel like it's a very dynamic energy. It feels like it's very much set in its ways. And so if something has to change, it's going to be you, which would probably involve removing yourself from this situation. And then, of course, autumn could be significant in some capacity. Autumn kind of makes me think about like energy sort of slowing down. You know, after summer, we're sort of like on that descent. We're not in that winter period of rest quite yet, but we're getting there. The world is sort of like becoming a little bit more dampened and I don't know how to explain it. I mean, you know how seasons work, I assume. Yeah, like the leaves are changing color, like it's getting cooler, like there's not a whole lot of like, you know, stuff going on as compared to like summer. where everyone's out and like children are screaming. It's like slowly this energy is kind of coming to a close. So maybe like if you're thinking about putting your 2 weeks in or something like that, or it feels like this is a job or something that requires like more notice than 2 weeks. So it might end up hitting around autumn, like maybe a month's notice. I know a lot of places do require a month's notice, which is ridiculous, by the way. And personally, I would not give anyone notice, depending on how much you like your coworkers, but also, you know. But yeah, it's this vibe of like sort of beginning to go inward, taking the steps. Maybe you can't do it all at once, but taking the steps to like remove certain things from your life that you feel like are sucking you dry, and like trying to like reprioritize, get things straight. And it feels like it's a slow process to get to this 4th house energy. But that is where you are sort of headed compared to where you are now, which is this really chaotic and frustrated and like, oh my God, no one's appreciating me. No one's looking at the effort that I'm putting in. Like, this feels so thankless. So, yes. That was the Oracle cards. We're going to get into your tarot. Just give me one moment. I'm going to put all of this away. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why. I feel like I need like 3 energy drinks a day to function. It's really bad. Dude. People say, oh, once you stop drinking them, like you won't even notice a difference. And once you get past like the withdrawals from the caffeine, like you don't need anything. And it's just not true, by the way. Hey, it's just all a lie. Anyways, that was just like a mini rant because I'm just so chronically low energy. I don't know if anyone else is like that. And I'm sure anyone who has like chronic pain or chronic illness knows the whole runaround you get when you go to the doctor and you're just told that everything's fine. Maybe that's something significant because I was getting healing, but like, no, for real. If anyone else like has that problem, going to the doctor and just be told, oh, nothing's wrong with you. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good because I feel terrible, but it's fun. Anyways, we're going to get into your tarot. I'm going to have to shuffle it over here because my camera setup is weird. But Spirit, what is Pile One's true north in this lifetime? Let's see what we can get. I did also shuffle beforehand too. I try and like shuffle really, really well. You know? I can't really do it like that. So it's such a weird setup. Oh. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Sorry, guys. I know that's not the best card. Let's see. Oh, interesting. I heard like marriage counselor. That could be significant. Maybe that's what it is. Definitely something in which you are mediating or mending other people's wounds is maybe a direction to go in or where you are now, but there's like also that need to sort of Persephone to not let it deplete you. Okay, so let me see here what we got going on. That's good. I mean, it's not really centered, but it's fine. So it does, going back to like the healing aspect of things, it does feel like you are here to be a healer. Like that is sort of the point of, I guess, your existence. I mean, not like the point all in all, but like that's where you're headed, and that's like what you're supposed to do. But I'm hearing that it doesn't necessarily have to be via profession. We don't necessarily like meet our fate or exist in that energy just through like the traditional means of like that's what we do for work. I think that that's like a very new wave idea, because now I don't know a lot about like ancient civilizations and stuff, but at least under this sort of the 21st century guise of like capitalism, puts, let me just say it, in that sort of societal structure, we have to center our lives around work and our profession. And I think that that might be like one of the issues and pitfalls here is you think just because you know this is what you're supposed to do, that it has to be your job. But it's coming through, no, 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 no. Yes, this is what you're supposed to do. You are a healer for other people. But that doesn't mean that you have to go into that healing in the traditional sense, in the westernized medical sense. Like, it could be so many other things. You could get into more holistic forms of medicine, like maybe massage therapy, acupuncture. I got a facial the other day that was pretty good. If I knew how to relax, I feel like it would have been better. If I could physically relax, that would be great. But that's like really great. So like, there's a lot of ways that you can exist in that energy, like, you know, in that professional sphere, but in the same way, like, just you being in people's lives could be very healing. I just heard like found family, going back to like the fourth house card coming out. You could be very healing for people who have had familial like dysfunction or grew up in sort of a neglectful atmosphere, or maybe that's something that you grew up in. And so family and like found family is coming through as being very important, being able to heal old wounds that were instilled in you during childhood. Those are really hard to overcome. And I feel like you've helped people mend wounds like that before. But there's very much that feeling of like, you don't have to go into a certain line of work or profession just because you know that this is what you're supposed to do. You're here to do that in more of a spiritual sense, you know, and not to say that like medicine and like someone wanting to go into that field isn't spiritual, but you're here to just heal people by being in their lives, by proxy of them being near you and existing with you. You have a very healing energy. You bring people together, very much so, and you bring harmony, balance. Like, I am getting like mediator, so like maybe you've been in a lot of situations where like you've had friends who were having issues in relationships and stuff, and like you were more than happy to talk to them about that and sort of help them figure out how they feel. And that's where it really becomes meaningful for you. And that's where you also feel like it's not draining you and it's not like depleting you, because when you're doing something like that to someone that you're close with, like it's coming through that they're grateful for that time spent. Like, they're grateful for your presence and your energy, and that you would take the time to talk to them about things, and that you would be that person that they can lean on. And then in response, they're more than happy to be that person for you. So it's an equal exchange here, that you are able to do what you need to do and heal, and they are able to like extend that offer to you when you need it. So you're not just completely having your energy drained and sucked out. Yeah. But there's like, going back to Cancer, there's a need to protect. This Queen of Swords and the Seven of Wands makes me think that like in your day-to-day, that's where you're like in relationships with this Two of Cups. That's very much how you're healing people and how you're sort of meeting your fate. But you also need to be careful. Just because something's meant for you doesn't mean it can't like damage you. And And you absolutely are allowed to like pull away when need be, and put your walls up, put your guard up, even if it's someone you're close to or it's a relationship that you value. Like if you feel like someone is just, you know, using you, or it's getting like weird and codependent, then absolutely like you should be able to exercise control over that situation and become that Queen of Swords and be like, I think I'm done here. And even setting boundaries for people who might be like codependent can be healing for them. Like that's something that, I mean, it sucks. I've had to do it a lot in my life, but sometimes the best thing that you can do for someone is remove yourself from the situation, because even you being there will enable that behavior. And I'm getting that that's also something coming through, that maybe you're gonna have to do or you've had to do in the past, is cut people or things out of your life because you know that the best course of action and the thing that will help them grow is no longer giving them the ability to lean on you or use you in that capacity. So it's very much about like keeping people close who reciprocate your energy, and doing right by people who are, you know, in that codependent energy, in that you are able to remove yourself and make them stand on their own. If people are being codependent, if they are leaning on you too much or just using you, you do feel used, you feel like they're not really recognizing the effort that you're putting in, the best thing that you can do for both of you is just peace out, because that will be a wake-up call for them. And not only that, that will show them how to, you know, exist without having to levy their issues and their negative energy, their problems onto someone else's shoulders. Yeah. So ultimately, I feel like that's what's coming through for your reading, is that I feel like your true north here now is to be a healer, but you're someone that does that sort of just by like passing through people's lives, just by like existing and like having genuine connections with them, but also like being able to assert your boundaries when need be. Just being your most authentic self around people heals them. And yeah, I'm gonna cut this reading off here. So I really hope that you enjoyed. I hope that it made sense and that it resonated. Thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you at the next reading. Hello, pile 2. If you chose the Hush Tarot or the Blue Apatite, I love this stone. It's so cool, and when the light hits it right, these like really blue parts, let me try and show you, almost like light up. I'd love some more Blue Apatite, but it's expensive. This is your reading, so sorry. So I'm gonna put away the tarot. Sorry, I feel like I'm struggling right now. I just ate some Oreos because I got really hungry. So there's like Oreo in my teeth. But yeah, I'm gonna get into your Oracle cards. This is your reading, etc., etc. Okay, so your first card is the Mist. Trust your inner compass, be led from within. Ooh, a compass moment in a reading about your true north. Oh, let me just say, this energy was, when I was shuffling, I feel like it was so chaotic. It was like, it just felt like a lot. It just felt like a lot. And I get it and I resonate with it. I feel like you're someone that there's like a lot going on, if not in your life, in your brain, or maybe both. But I was just getting like the feeling of like, oh my God, this is just chaos. And I fuck with it. We have take time to breathe out, disseminating moon. Oh wow, my couch and my chair. I hate this chair. The all-encompassing hand. The divine hand has held your, whoa. The divine has held your hand for so long. It feels your sacred flesh as its own. The love that seals that divine hand fast is so powerful that one could spin the universe upon its axis and still your hands would be joined, gently and enduringly. Be reassured of blessings forthcoming in unwavering love and sublime friendship. Okay, I just want to point out, I feel like you're a little bit lost right now. Similar to pile one, but like it's less, it's different. It's a different vibe. But this lostness, this feeling of being lost, rather, feels like a result of loss in your life. Of something that you thought was stable, of something that, and was stable, you know, for a while there, but it feels like something left. It feels like something, some sort of energy or something was shed, and you are in the aftermath of that, almost like the aftermath of a tower moment. But I don't know if it was like really as intense as a tower moment. It wasn't like it definitely could have been, but it's just feeling like something that you thought would never leave left. Maybe something that you thought was like where you were supposed to be, you thought was your true north left, and you're just like lost. You're like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't know where to go without this thing, this person, this feeling. There's a feeling of grief here. That you don't know where to go anymore. You were so sure of things until this left. And I think Spirit is saying right now, like, something about how like this was never the end game, like this was never it. You only thought that it was, but it's not, and it wasn't, which is why it left you. But it's like you're having a hard time reconciling with that fact that there could be something on the other end of this, or there could be something more, because you were so sure that this was meant for you. Anyways, we have singing, melody, lyrics, the voice, and throat chakra. So music could be significant. You might be a vocalist, or maybe you work in a profession that's heavy with communication, or maybe you have something to say to someone. Someone has something to say to you. But there's something about like being able to verbalize what you're feeling. Maybe you're someone who, like me personally, the way I process things and the way I process how I'm feeling is by talking about it, because as I talk about it, I sort of string the threads together. Like when it's all up in your head, and this is that energy that I was getting earlier, like you're very much in your head about something, but when it's like all in there, like you can think about things and you can ruminate over and over again, but like verbalizing stuff really, really helps, because especially if you word vomit like me, sometimes you word vomit in the right direction, and then you're like, oh fuck. And yeah, there's something about using your voice or music, but particularly the voice, to have a breakthrough about this thing. Allowing yourself to grieve as well, like when things leave, even if they weren't really good for us. I think that we need to acknowledge the fact that we should be able to grieve that as well. But I'm just hearing like this thing was not meant for you. Like this wasn't it. It really hurts that it left, and you are allowed to be hurt by that, because whether or not things are meant for us, we get attached to them, and that's okay. You don't have to like just immediately be like, and I'm done. Like I feel nothing anymore because it wasn't meant for you. That's not how things work. So give yourself time and space to grieve this loss and this newfound emptiness in your life. And it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel directionless. And it's okay to feel like the universe is like kicking you while you're down, because I know that feeling. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, okay, you guys are being mean right now, by the way. But whatever was lost was not meant for you. Okay. We have the South Node. I know this card looks fucking weird. I know. Okay, you don't have to tell me. I made these while I was at work one day because I was bored. And it got fucked up. And because I can't afford more cards right now. So, you know, unless anyone wants to cash at me like $100, I could get 2 decks. Because they're expensive. And we have Capricorn. You could have your South Node in Capricorn. 10th house placements could be significant, or where Saturn is in your chart could be significant. I also just heard South Node in the 12th house. So that could definitely be something, or like Earth placements. And then we have the song, oopsies, so right, Blood Moon by Fantasy Camp. And of course I'm going to say it. Please listen to the song. I feel like there's significance, especially because like you already have a card about like music and melodies and singing in your pile. Listen to this song. This is kind of like a breakup song. I swear it keeps coming out too. I think it's because like I like really love it so much. I have a pretty chunky deck of note cards with songs and lyrics on them that I made. And I just feel like the same ones come out, and this one in particular has been coming out a lot lately, but I've been listening to the song a lot lately, so that might be why. But that's definitely sort of like vibey. I feel like it matches the energy of this pile super duper well. But yeah, something about like the Capricorn. And it was interesting because, again, like it's kind of similar to the first pile. So maybe if you were drawn to that one, there's something in there for you. But I think like one of the pitfalls of heavy Capricorn placements, you know, it's a cardinal sign. It's a very determined sign. But like the 10th house deals with recognition. And as someone who has... my midheaven is Capricorn, and I have Chiron in Capricorn. Like I feel like the wounds of not being like seen as you are, or you know, people like not really recognizing you and like looking over you even though you make so much effort, is really hard. And it feels like there was something here that like you thought was like an equal exchange, or you thought because you were like putting an effort in, like that it would stay. Or maybe it just like, it was something that you were thinking was like fated, or like you're like, this has to be like meant to be because this sort of just fell into my lap, you know, like this feels like the divine hand just like giving this to me. And sometimes that's true. Like I feel like for some people, certain things that just like come towards them out of nowhere, like it is fate. But also the universe doesn't really work like that. Like, and I think people who just rely on things coming towards them get complacent and get lazy and convince themselves that certain things are meant to be, when really they're just accepting anything that comes their way. And there's a very distinct difference between what is meant to be and what has just come your way because of circumstance. And this feels like the universe is trying to show you that difference between accepting whatever comes your way out of the blue and what is actually meant for you. Because just because something's meant for you doesn't mean that you don't have to work towards it. And I'd say that if something is meant for you, you would have to put more energy and work towards it. Because like the universe doesn't want you to be lazy about things. Like you have to be proactive in your life, and like you have to put effort in. And if you just like sit and wait for like things to come to you, it's just not going to happen. Because not to say it's like rewarding that behavior, but like realistically, like the world just doesn't work like that. I can say the universe doesn't work like that, but the world just doesn't. And if it does, maybe you're someone that's really lucky. But for me personally, I feel like I've had to work hard for everything that I've had. And in a lot of ways, that almost makes it more meaningful. Is the things that are meant for you, you will know they're meant for you because you won't let go of them. Or because they will stay in your life even when things get hard. And I think that's where Capricorn is coming through, is Capricorn is about the hard work that goes into achieving a goal. And maybe this is something that left your life, it's feeling like it's someone, but maybe this is something that left your life because things got hard. And the universe is saying like, what is meant for you will not just like dip because things are uncomfortable. When things get uncomfortable, whatever's meant for you will double down because it wants to stay. Like, I think that's a really hard lesson to learn, because we can sit and like romanticize and idealize people and things, and be like, you know, projecting all of this stuff onto them. But if someone or something decides to leave your life so easily at the first sign of hardship, is that anything that you want in your life to begin with? Personally, I want things that will put in that effort. Like I very much value effort. This is going off on a tangent, but because I feel like this is in regards to like relationships, and a relationship, I just have to say, like, I have always been drawn to the idea of having a relationship that is not easy, which sounds like fucking insane, I know, but it comes from, okay, listen to me, it comes from my 10th house and my Chiron placements in Capricorn, because my 10th house is also ruled by Capricorn, so I'm like, I'd be out here, because the idea that something would care about you so much and would want to be in your life so much to stick through that hardship and be like, this is uncomfortable, this is hard, I don't like how I'm feeling right now, but I care about this so much that I am not leaving you. You know, I'm not gonna leave just because things are uncomfortable. That idea is incredibly appealing as someone with abandonment issues, right? And I think that that's like, that's kind of the theme here, is the things that are meant for you will not be easy, and will at the same time won't leave when things get hard. Life is hard, and it's not going to stop being hard, and you will not stop feeling like you are getting kicked when you're down. I just don't think that that's a thing. I think that everyone is existing in a constant state of chaos and like barely hanging on. Everyone I talk to feels like that. Maybe that's representative of the day and age that we're in. Maybe it's just life. But the point here, amid all my rambling, amid, I don't know, is that things that are easy are good, but don't accept things just because they're easy, and what is meant for you will fight for you. It won't just be like, this is too much, like I can't do it, because guess what, that's fucking selfish. Yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna get some of these little slips of paper too, and then we're gonna hop into the tarot. But I hope that made sense. I feel like I just ramble. I just hope, realistically, if you're channeling stuff, like it gets hard to keep up with what you're saying. It just comes out really fast. I already talk fast. Okay. We have friendship. We have storytelling. You could be a writer. Maybe. We have focus. Wings. Birds could be significant. Personally, I really love swans. I love swans and crows, okay? I'm actually going to get a swan tattoo, hopefully at some point. But maybe those are significant, swans and crows. Those are like my birds. I feel like every time I see crows, I really feel like it's a sign from spirit, even though they're common where I live. But I just, you know, I feel like they're, you know, I saw this baby crow one time. This is getting off track, but you can listen to it. I saw this baby crow. He was so cute, but I could just tell it was like a little baby because his feathers were like still kind of fluffy. And his mom was up in a tree calling for him. He was on this little branch really close to this wire fence when I was walking Persephone. And yeah, he didn't fly away. I don't think he could fly. He was like waiting for his mother to come get him, because that's what some birds do when they're learning how to fly, but like they fall or they get lost or something, so they usually just like sit and wait. And he was just waiting on this branch looking at me. Who's so adorable. But yeah, crows, swans, birds just could be significant in general. We have 34, which reduces to 7. We have gentle. I think you need to be gentle with yourself, to be honest. I think that that's what that's saying. We have the name Alora. I don't know what this name means. I forgot. But you should Google it. You should Google the etymology of it. I want to say that it probably has etymology in like Christianity and stuff like that. But I mean, most names do. A lot of names do, I should say, rather. In America, at least. But there probably is some significance to that name because I really like it a lot. Yeah, so I'm going to put your Oracle cards away and then we can get into the tarot. I'm back. Okay, we're going to shuffle this deck a little bit. Uh-oh. There goes my phone. I'm really trying my best with this setup. It's not working super well. Listen. Oh, I'm holding the deck upside down. Okay. I meant to get a camera. I meant to have a camera by now. I meant to have like a tripod by now. I just can't keep up with the money thing. As in, every time I turn around, something is breaking, or I'm having to buy something that I did not expect to buy. But it's fine. Spirit. Spirit. Hello. Anyways, we're gonna see what your true north is. And I did shuffle this before I started filming as well, but I like to do a lot of shuffling. So Spirit, please tune me into pile 2's true north and any messages that you might have for them regarding it. Okay, let's see what we can get. Oh, the 8 of Pentacles already coming out. I don't know what's going on with the sun. I feel like it went away, but it's really hot out today. Pisces coming through with a Hanged Man as well. And on the bottom of the deck is the 9 of Swords. I don't think I pulled the bottom of the deck for pile 1. I think I forgot. I'm not gonna lie. I can't really, let me see if I can get this all in frame properly. But the 8 of Pentacles immediately I feel like that's exactly what I was. There's no place for this, but it's fine. We'll put him right here. What's behind that? The Ten of Pentacles. What's behind that? The Hermit. Yeah. The Eight of Pentacles feels very much like what I was saying earlier. In that things take work. And like I was saying, the things that are meant for you and meant to be in your life, meant to stay in your life, will take work. I really hope my phone does not cut me off, because that would be literally so tragic, but it is what it is. Yeah, so let me see. These cards are crazy too. I remember there is some nudity in this deck, and I was not sure if I should use it, but I really think it's super neat. Really cool imagery and stuff. Yeah, so there's a need here, I feel like, to have more control and autonomy in where you're going. I feel like, and let me tell you, I'm resonating with this pile a little bit too much. I felt like very like this would be my pile if I was to pick. So I probably need to take my own advice, and I say that a lot because I never do. But I feel like you just, if you're like me, okay, because I'm very much like, I want to be accepting of things as they come to me, accepting of people as they come to me. And let me tell you that sometimes that has taken shape in me ignoring red flags, or not really ignoring them. I say I acknowledge red flags, but I just also have an understanding of the duality of human nature. But I will say, if someone says something alarming, if someone does something alarming that crosses your boundaries, or they cross your boundaries consistently after you have established them, then you might need to be like, ugh, is this really meant for me? It almost feels like there's this feeling of like autopilot here, of like things just come towards you and you're like, okay. But there's like a lack of like really going out and getting what you want. It's like you are all too willing to be complacent. You're too willing, or not, and not to say that you are just like sitting on your ass, but that maybe if you feel lost, or you feel like I can't find my path, I can't find my way, it's because you're not actively searching for it. You're just assuming that it's going to come meet you where you're at. And I think that a lot of people think that. Like, I think a lot of people have that idea about fate. But the thing is, like, we still have control over ourselves and over our actions. I feel like the universe has a game plan, has a map for us, has a point that we will reach. But the sort of minute details, which ultimately in the span of our life are not minute, but the details along the way, the sort of guiding points, those shift and change and are moving with our decisions and other people's decisions. And those faded points along the way are the times in which that karmic wheel spins and sort of like lights up as everything comes together as it should be. If that makes any amount of sense. That's truly what I believe. And I think that you're lagging behind on meeting your fated points because you're just sitting on autopilot. And you're like, why is nothing coming to me? Like, why don't these things, like, why, like, just why? It's because there's a lack of movement towards the things that are meant for you. Like, you have to start taking those steps to show the universe that you're ready. And then maybe the universe will like drop things into your lap. And then maybe things will be really serendipitous. But if you're just waiting, that is just so passive, like nothing's really going to happen. And I see that here with the Hanged Man. Typically the Hanged Man is about like putting yourself in timeout on purpose because you're waiting for the right moment. But in this sort of energy, it just feels like a perpetuation of stagnancy. And yeah, I feel like, especially with this Nine of Swords, like maybe you feel like the universe has turned its back on you, or you just feel like you can't get anything good, you can't hold on to anything good. And it's not that you can't have good things or hold on to them. I will say, like, I am sympathetic. Like, I definitely feel like that. I'm like, why the fuck? You know, can't I? Just why? But maybe you're placing your energy too much in, like, things that have happened to you or, like, the past or something like that. Again, like, I'm a little bit tentative to say that because, like, there was something coming through about grief. Letting yourself mourn what you have lost. It might very well be that you need to do that before you can even move towards anything. But once you've done that, like, you will be able to feel more in control and feel like you know the steps that you need to take to get where you want. But thus far, I feel like you've been existing in a very or fairly passive energy of just accepting what comes towards you. And a lot of things can come towards us, especially if we have like a really inviting vibe or something like that. If you have an energy that you feel like people are attracted to, but it always ends up with them sort of taking advantage of you, which is definitely very Piscean. Again, as a Pisces, I get it. I feel like you might be, maybe you attract people who are like codependent or just emotionally draining or something like that. And you're like, why the fuck does this keep happening? Let me tell you, I still haven't figured it out. Maybe I need to like look at this reading really hard and be like, But I think that it's also about like, speaking from experience, even if someone comes towards you, if they do poke at your boundaries or they do exhibit those red flags, like, you don't have to sit through that, dude. Like, you do not have to like try and save someone if you do have like a savior complex or like that martyr complex or something like that. Like, even if you can see the good in someone, that doesn't mean that they're good for you. Or that doesn't mean a situation or a thing is good for you. There's a lot of like, you know, beneath this, like brimming beneath this, you're someone who does have like this chaotic, passionate, fiery energy with that Page of Wands there. Like, you have places that you want to go, you have things that you want to do, but it's just giving that you're like constantly being pulled in so many directions, or that you're caught up on something else that you feel like you can never really like channel that energy into one thing in particular, or like really send yourself down one path. But you really need to be in the driver's seat. Like, you need to be able to make the decisions. I think with that Two of Wands coming through, saying like, life is a constant fork in the road, essentially. And now is the time to look at moments in which you feel like other people have been in the driver's seat. Like, observe that and how you got to that point, and don't let it happen again. Because this does feel like something that happened, like, really, really wounded you. Like, this loss here, like, it, with that Nine of Swords on the bottom, like, this is something that you're grieving, and this is something that's going to take time to work through. But ultimately, it is showing you the ways in which your control has maybe been stripped of you. And that there's a call here to regain autonomy. I don't know if this is, let me see. I think I got off track with the reading, but it's like, it really feels like, if I was to encompass that into like your true north is you in the driver's seat. This feels like it's less so where you're supposed to be and more so how you're supposed to get there. Spirit is saying you already know where you're supposed to be. You just need to like have more control over yourself and your actions and your thing, like your immediate surroundings and what you want. You just need to be a little bit more of a go-getter here, and then the rest will fall into place. I feel like you already know where you're going. You just feel confused about how you're supposed to get there. And the way in which you're supposed to get there is by exercising your autonomy over your own life. And I feel like that probably has been stripped from you in some capacity. But yeah, just like being a little bit more proactive, like being a little bit more decisive, getting out of that Hanged Man energy and developing this Page of Wands into the Knight of Wands. Like, I don't feel the need to try and explain to you where you're going. Like, I really feel like you already know that. The problem here is that you have not been taking the proper steps towards that. So, yes. Someone just texted me. What? Anyways, that's your reading. I'm going to cut it off here because I feel like my phone's going to beat my ass about how long this video is getting. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope it resonated. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Hello, pile number 3, or if you chose the fluorite. Every little thing you do is magic tarot. I love this piece of fluorite. I know I showed it at the beginning too, but look at how cool it is. Look at the banding in there. This is going to be your reading, so we're going to set aside the tarot for a little bit and get into the oracle cards. I will say I accidentally got more than I meant to for your pile because they fell out and I just thought I should take them. But I feel like I'm running on borrowed time, so my phone might cut off, and if it does, then I might have to upload a separate video for the rest of your pile, but we're just gonna jump into it and see what's up. So your first card is Lady of the Lake, new beginnings, something is about to happen. We have Let It Rain, allowing what is, inevitability and trust. We have You and Your Loved Ones Are Safe with New Moon and Cancer. And there is like a lot of water energy coming through for this pile. It's interesting because I feel like the first pile was heavy with earth energy. The second pile felt more like air or fire. And this one feels heavy with water energy. So if you could be a water sign, so Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, or you could have heavy placements in the 4th house, the 8th house, or the 12th house. Those could all be significant to you, or, you know, little bits of confirmation, but it definitely feels like there's a lot of like emotion in this pile. You're coming through as someone who's very dreamy, very artistic and intuitive. And like you do feel things very deeply, especially with Cancer coming through. Which is interesting, like the second pile had a card come out for the 4th house, but yeah, there's just like very, the depth of feeling here feels like it runs so deep for you, and you could be an artist. I'm getting like painting too, could be significant, but definitely heavy water sign energy. Also, please bear with me. My brain is definitely fizzling out right now. I'm trying my best. We have Sacred Convergence. Wow. You do not have to force the planets to spin, nor the great cycles of the soul to progress. All that is required is that you show up for what is offered to you now. Do your part. Take your steps. You cannot remain in the vibration of fear if you want to dwell in the frequency of love. We have challenges, as well as do not take anything less than what you deserve. Okay. I will say there's something coming through with like almost familial wounding. Maybe like a mother wound, but I'm almost feeling more so like a father wound, to be honest. Like a wound from a masculine figure in your life from when you were younger, especially because the 4th house does deal with like family and home life and stuff like that. And typically we do see it like more so, you know, especially with the moon ruling Cancer as the mother, but something about a masculine figure or the father is coming through, in that maybe you weren't like allowed to be sensitive. Maybe if you are like more of a masculine, or even if you're more of a feminine, but I know typically for like masculines or like men, you know, a lot is demanded of them, in that like they are told that they can't be sensitive, that they can't cry, that like they shouldn't feel a certain way. And I feel like that just is, it runs so like in complete opposition to the way that you are. Maybe you do have really, really heavy water placements, because there's something about just like feeling like you feel so deeply, but it's almost like people have tried to shame you for that, and have tried to like spin it on its head and be like, you need to stop doing that. That's not how you should. Oh wow, it's raining. That's not how you should be, or you shouldn't feel this way, or you shouldn't express yourself like that. You're a soft soul, and you feel like you're existing in a world that is hard and like not resilient, but hard and cold, and isn't receptive to your gentle nature. And I think that there's like a lot of shame with that, with the way that you want to express yourself. Maybe even the way that you present, like if you present in a little bit more of a feminine way, if you like softer colors, or like to wear makeup, or like skirts like that, something like that. It's just like you feel chronically unaccepted, but at the same time, like you don't want to abandon that part of yourself. It's coming through less so that it's like you disliking that like completely, and it's just so like more so that shame has been instilled in you because of that. And so maybe you've tried to like fit into other molds, but like ultimately you keep coming back to who you are at your core, which is someone who is emotional and soft and is receptive. Like it's coming through that like maybe if you're in like more of a masculine form, you exist in the abstract as more of a feminine, if that makes any sense. Or you just are very in tune with your feminine side. But there's something like you've been shamed for it. Like you feel like you're not allowed to feel the way that you are. Or feel the way that you do, or be the way that you are innately. Even though I feel like on some level you know that there's nothing wrong with it. Even if like on the surface level you like are, you know, kind of ashamed. There's still like this pull towards existing that way. We have past lives. So you could have a south node in Cancer, south node in the 4th house. We have Scorpio, so very much heavy water sign coming through. Wowie. We would just need to get a card for Pisces, and then we got all of them. And then we have the square coming through. So you could have a lot of challenging aspects in your chart, or a lot of challenging aspects in your chart in regards to like water placements, which is kind of like what I'm getting, is that like you are like this innately, you feel so deeply, but there's like at the same time this resistance to completely succumbing to that. I just heard like regeneration, especially with Scorpio and the 8th house. Like it's about death. It's about, wow, it is storming right now. That's crazy. It is about that regeneration. And I think with death, like when people see that, when they look at the houses, they take it a lot of the times in the literal sense. For me, I never really do. Like I think that death is a constant in life, in so much as we are constantly shedding things and dealing with change, and like things are falling away and being destroyed. Oftentimes it's things that need to. Maybe you're someone that sort of brings that into other people's lives, maybe because you shake up perceptions of established structures or like how people think you should be. I'm trying to make it so that these are all in frame, but I don't think I can. But there's something about you that is like, it's off, you're off the beaten path, or you exist in that way where you're like contradictory to what people think you would be, and it really shakes up like their perception of the status quo. And it's almost like you like that, but at the same time, again, there's shame around it, coming from something rooted in an old wound or childhood. But maybe you're like a little bit polarizing too. Like people either really like you or they don't. Wow, that's crazy. I did not know it was gonna rain so hard today. But that's fine. Oh, we have Let It Rain. Wow, interesting. Yeah, there's something about you that's like very much like you come in people's lives to shake things up, and then maybe just like that you're gone. And it's interesting, it's almost coming through like other people might perceive you, even if they're not like, even if they don't like you that much, they might perceive you as being like really confident and just not giving a fuck when it comes to what they think. But at the same time, because of this heavy water sign energy, you're like hypersensitive and hyper aware. So like you project this image of confidence is what's coming through with Scorpio, but there's like something darker brimming beneath the surface that not everyone is privy to. But it's like this duality, this polarization, like this dichotomy is a good way to put it, or juxtaposition. Like you are that split, you are that schism in people's lives. It's like expectations versus who you really are, and then who they perceive you to be, but like juxtaposed with what is actually brimming beneath the surface. You are like a hard split. People don't really know what to do with you almost, but it's like it's coming through as like people admire that you exist in this way, that you're so different. But again, you're very sensitive, and I feel very artistic as well. But this being able to exist in this sort of unadulterated energy, it brings challenges. It does. Like when you exist in that way and you're not what people think you are, oh my God, it's pouring. Or you're like, you come off as unapologetically yourself, even if you're insecure, even if you're ashamed, giving that like perception to other people like comes with its challenges, and people get very judgy. I think that's something that I think that's something that you're used to. But it's like an old wound that doesn't really like to be prodded at, you know. Maybe you feel like you've come as far as you can in healing and self-acceptance, and you're like at the point where you're like, I don't know what to do anymore with it. Sorry, I feel like I just rambled a whole lot. Your song, by the way, because I have one more card and it's a song, it's Give by Ridgeway, and I don't think I can even read my own handwriting. But yeah, very much coming through with like a push and pull here. I know I said like dichotomy, juxtaposition, who you are versus who you are perceived to be, and almost like that people's perceptions of you like impeding on your true self. This might be significant. I don't know why I'm feeling like I should say it, but like I recently, or like a while ago, I was like really trying to get out more and like do more stuff and like be more extroverted, but I'm an introvert. I go out and I get overstimulated. Like I'm not good in crowds. I'm not good with like large groups of people. And I kept getting like overstimulated and like leaving places crying because I'm just not that kind of person. But at the same time, I feel like I project the lens that I am more extroverted than I actually am. And so it gives people this false perception that kind of begins to impede on who I truly know I am, if that makes sense. It's like being able to wear a mask, like easily don a mask or a veil to live up to other people's expectations of you. But then like that veil gets tangled with what you actually are, and you sort of lose sight of yourself. Maybe you feel like you've been playing a part for so long, but there's something about coming back to your core feminine energy, your core like softness. Maybe with Cancer, you've had your guard up for so long to protect this softness from other people that you've gotten so good at playing a part that you feel a little bit disconnected from your feminine side. I don't know. I feel like I just like word vomited everywhere. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're coming through with someone like who can project that water sign scorpionic energy, but like really you're very like sensitive and soft on the inside. Not that Scorpios aren't soft, but like you know how Scorpios are, like they're Scorpios, okay? Like they're the fire sign of water signs, I feel like. And so you're really good at projecting that when at your core you're like existing on the more like soft feminine side of things. But people like now have this perception of you that you feel like is not completely accurate. But it's what you've learned to project. You know, it's what you've learned people will be more receptive to, even if that means that there's like a split dichotomy between people really liking you or people really disliking you. There's a challenge in the way you are perceived versus how you perceive yourself and who you truly are. But there's like a need to get more in touch with that softer side of things. Anyways, we're gonna get into your tarot. I'm gonna put these away. I'll be right back. Okay, it's really storming. That does feel significant, I won't lie. Maybe there's a need to cleanse yourself of something. Like it is coming through. It's some people's perceptions of you. You need to start shedding what they project onto you. It's almost like you can't live up to who people think you are. There's just a wound that's like about people wanting you to be some type of way, and so you want to like stay true to yourself and acknowledge who you are at your core, but also live up to those expectations. And it's sort of like you've been playing this game for so long of like being an actor or being an actress and being what they want you to be, even if it means abandoning some part of yourself. And you don't truly ever like lose that part of yourself. Like you still come back to it, you know, every night or something like that, or you still connect with it, but it's just not completely authentic in the way that you present. You're tired of being what everyone wants you to be, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm like blacking out for this last part of the reading. I'm getting really tired. Please bear with me. But it is regarding like people's perceptions and like being who they want you to be. But like still trying to find the balance between staying true to who you are and what you want and who you want to be. So we're gonna get your tarot now and see what messages Spirit has for you. What is your true north? The Ace of Wands. Ooh, interesting. 22, which reduces to 4. Oh, I don't know if I can. Okay, yeah, they all flipped out in one go. Oh, you got an extra card again. We're just gonna take all these because I feel like that's the vibe right here. And then we'll look at the bottom of the deck as well. You got 5 cards. I don't know where to put that. And then on the bottom of the deck is the 9 of Swords. That's weird. Okay, so, and behind that is the 10 of Swords. The 9 of Swords was the bottom of the deck energy for pile 2 as well. I feel like there's been similarities between all of the piles, which is really interesting to me. It feels like a thread of fate. You guys are, you know, something about the collective, etc., etc. The 3 of Cups is your extra card, I did say. I'm trying to like make it so I can get all this in frame. But yes, let's talk about this really quick before my phone cuts off. Yeah, there's some grief here with that Nine of Swords on the bottom. Right now, like, it's coming through. Like I said, you don that mask of Scorpio, but it feels a little bit more like you're in that Cancerian or like maybe Pisces energy. You might come across really intense to people, but it's almost like there's something pent up here. Like it's the expression of a lot of pent up emotional energy that is coming through in like a weird way, because you feel like you can't truly express it. You express it enough to be compelling, like maybe with art, you express it in a certain way that like people are interested and compelled, but they're not really like seeing truthfully the entire picture of things, if that makes sense. Because as an artist, and I hate saying that, but really, people will come and look at your work with their own interpretation of it, and then have an interpretation of who you are on the basis of how they perceive your work. And that can be really hard for people to just like look at something and have a expectation of you that is completely different than who you find yourself to be or who you feel yourself to be, on the basis of something as abstract as art. Because art is meant to be up to interpretation, but a lot of people, especially if they aren't artists, they will take it one way and then project that onto the creator. It is coming through like you do something with art, like whether it's writing, music, painting, drawing, I don't know. There's so many different forms. Like you could sew, you could make clothing, beadwork, embroidery. There's so many different things that you can do. And I feel like you use those things to express yourself. Maybe that's something you found in childhood and you were ashamed about, is that like you were really drawn to art and other people were into like more physical activities or like more, like doing something with college or like college credits. I don't know. I didn't go to college. I don't know how that stuff works. But like if you're an artist, it's really hard to try and fit yourself into those boxes, and you just like never resonated with that, but you resonated in expressing yourself emotionally in this way, but you don't like the way that people project their shit onto you, or the way maybe people even interpret your work. But it's coming through that you have donned this mask of being like this Queen of Wands and like a social butterfly, and the Three of Cups of like, just like I was saying earlier, like maybe it's the same thing. Maybe something that you're into, something that you're doing necessitates that you sort of be more extroverted than you actually are. I just realized we have the King and the Queen of Wands coming, and the Lovers. Interesting. Three of Cups. I wonder if I can put it right here. I can't. I don't know why I tried to do that. It did not make any sense. That's really cool, actually. I didn't even notice. It took me a minute. I thought that was the Four of Pentacles for a second, because the Four of Pentacles also has a lizard on it. Oh, okay. I think that you're already actively doing what is meant for you. It's just the way in that you exist in that. Like, I think that, truthfully, this pile got hyper specific, like really specific, but I think you're an artist. I think you're an artist and you're already in that field and you're already doing it, but it's just draining because like you are expected to be more social than you are. And I feel like that's a really interesting dichotomy. Again, going back to dichotomies, the splits, the schisms, juxtaposition, etc., etc. I feel like that's an interesting dichotomy because like I feel like a lot of artists would self-identify as being heavily introverted, but the field necessitates that you don that mask of extroversion and of being good with people. And So you can either play your personality and your quirks and your introversion in that way and sort of spin it in that way, or you can just not be successful. And that sounds really harsh, but true. It's like true. It's a very competitive field, and I feel like you know that. The King of Wands and the Ace of Wands, like all of this, like fire energy, going back to like the Mask of Scorpio, and Scorpio for me feeling like the fire sign of the water signs. Like it feels like there's like some competitive go-getter energy here. And that you know what you have to do to get what you want. Especially because the King of Wands is a completionist. Like he does not start anything that he cannot finish. And the Queen of Wands is that social butterfly, is that commanding presence. Like the Queen of Wands is like the person that walks into the room and everyone turns their head. This feels like a cultivated personality that is not completely like detached from who you truly are, but it's like on the basis of certain aspects of who you are, but it's something exhausting to keep up. Which is like that Nine of Swords on the bottom of the deck. It's exhausting to be in this social butterfly energy. Maybe there's like a heavy emphasis on interpersonal relationships in what you do and creating those connections. I know a lot of artistic fields are on the basis of who you know and your connections with people, but like realistically, you know, that's important, being able to network and stuff like that. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting way off track. I'm like, I'm tired. But yeah, like, I think, like I said, it's the way this reading has panned out has been interesting because, I feel like you're already doing what you want to do with your life. You're already at that point that like you're existing in that faded energy. It's just like not completely authentic, and you don't know how to be completely authentic because you feel like people would turn on you, or you might seem less appealing. And I'm actually gonna get more cards for you. I'm so sorry. I just feel like the need to. I was only doing like 4 for the other groups, but you already got quite a few cards falling out, so we're just gonna keep rocking with it. And your reading is just gonna be longer because there's like a block here. Like we got the like part of it where you're at this part where you're like, you're in the deep end of what you're doing and you're very passionate, you're very creative, you have a lot of things to say, you love your work, you love what you do, you love the artistic aspect of it, but the social aspect of it feels very, very draining. But it's what you're meant to do. That's what you're meant to do. Like we already know that. Like, but especially with the Lovers here, and let me not speak too soon, but you know, because this isn't coming through as a romantic thing, it comes through to say like that split and that schism again with Gemini of being pulled in so many directions at once. Speaking as someone with a Gemini moon who rambles a lot and cannot talk in a straight line, that's the sort of, and like the sort of, I know a lot of people shit on Geminis and I will be the first to do it, but that's that sort of not negative energy of Gemini, but like the polarity that exists with the twins is coming through heavy. Like polarity is coming through as you feel split between two sides of yourself, and so there's a need to reconnect with that deep intuitive feminine energy as opposed to the masculine energy that I feel like you've been forced to exist in because of what you do. So we're just going to get some clarifiers for you. I'm sorry your reading's getting so long. Oh my gosh. The 10 of Swords coming out for the Ace. The High Priestess for the Lovers. King of Swords, yeah. The Ace of Cups. And then 5 of Swords on the bottom. The deck right now and the 3 of Swords beneath that. Okay. Yeah. That helps a little bit more. I feel like there's just, you are lighting up my Gemini moon right now. There's so much information. It feels like, I feel like you have so much going on in your life and you're just struggling to keep up right now is sort of the vibe. Maybe sometimes you feel a little bit resentful. You're like, I feel like I got everything that I wanted, or this is what I wanted. Why am I not happy? Because there's this depletion coming through, is that you feel tired, you feel depleted, you are conflicted because you're doing what you love, but you just don't love the circumstances surrounding it. And again, it feels like the best thing, like you are trying to project this masculine energy here because you found that people are more receptive to that side of you is when you're existing in that masculine, but you're getting so disconnected from your roots. And I think that's why we have the High Priestess here with the Lovers, is when you feel pulled in so many directions, like quiet your mind and get in tune with that deep intuitive energy. Like the High Priestess is the most intuitive card in the deck, and she's ruled by the water signs as well. She's the divine feminine to the Emperor counterpart, and she also, I believe, is her ruling planet is the moon, I want to say again. So it's like very much that Cancerian energy once more, and the idea of like the divine feminine, the divine mother, all of that. It's that you have it within you, and I see that with the King and Queen of Wands. Like you have that within you. You exist connected to that. Like there's a thread holding these two parts of yourself together, but it just feels like more and more you're falling away from your feminine side, and I don't think you like it. I just don't think that you know what to do about it because life is demanding that you exist in this masculine energy. So something needs to change, essentially. Something needs to change because you don't want to project this Ten of Swords onto this Ace of Wands. This Ace of Wands is like your work, your art, what you love to do. And then the Ten of Swords is the circumstances surrounding it and how you feel about that. You're like, I don't know if I can keep this up anymore. That's kind of the feeling, is like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, this is too much. But you don't want it to impede on what you love to do. Like, you don't want it to taint your art. And I mean, strictly speaking, because I feel like this got so specific, I'm just gonna roll with it. I feel like you're an artist, and it sucks to have to feel like you're producing something for the benefit of others, especially when it comes from such a vulnerable place inside of you. So I think for the sake of your art, there's going to be a need to change something here. And the Ace of Cups clarifying the Queen of Wands tells me that you have to get back in touch with your feminine side, and there are going to be opportunities for you to do this. Like, definitely heavy on the like water energy here. That the universe is trying to tell you, like, this is where your attention needs to be redirected to, especially if you feel like, I'm getting like creative blocks and feeling depleted here and feeling like you don't really know where to go with something that you're working on, a project that you're working on. The best way to find direction again is to get back in touch with your feminine side, which has been like the drive for your artistic nature, as opposed to the masculine side of yourself and things, which is that more outward facing energy that you have projected to attract people to your art or to your work. I'm almost getting like hermit energy of like, you need to pull back from people and things and the noise, and you need to take a break, and maybe just do nothing for a while, so that you can recoup and regenerate and get back in touch with that water energy, with that feminine side, with that softness that's always been within you, but that you feel like has been rejected time and time again and undervalued by other people. And I will say, like, I do think that femininity and feminine energy is chronically undervalued. Like, I know there's like a whole wave of people being like, I'm gonna get in touch with my divine feminine. But that is getting bastardized. Let me tell you, that is getting bastardized by people who do not know what the hell they're talking about. Not to be a dick, but it's true. Like that sort of thing isn't something that you can just be like, and I'm doing it right now. Like I'm in my divine feminine energy. Like it takes work. In a society that values masculinity and values men in general, let me not go on this rant, but values men in general and masculinity and those sort of aspects of things. If you are masculine, especially, getting in touch with your feminine energy is not something that comes easy peasy lemon squeezy. And even in feminines and women, like it is also just like I'm not even gonna go on the rant about it, but it is just people take it for granted and undervalue it. Like we can sit here and pretend that that's not the case, but it is. Being in touch with your feminine energy is objectively harder than being in touch with your masculine energy. And I think that that's where this struggle comes from, is you embody femininity in a way that is attractive to other people, but you also play by the rules of the status quo in certain ways. Even if you're sort of off the beaten path, you still find yourself in feeling constrained by people's perceptions of you, people's expectations, and like society's expectations of who you should be and who you should show up as. So you need to go inwards so you can get back in touch with who you were before people's opinions and, you know, perception got to you. And I'm hearing that that will relinquish a creative block because we have two aces here. So it's like the universe is trying to guide you back to like the spark of inspiration, or like what started this all. It's like somewhere along the way you, I don't want to say lost the plot, but you got a little bit disconnected from the plot and you knew it too, and you were just like, but I'm in too deep, what do I do now? Yeah, and like if you're sitting here trying to like intellectualize this with this King of Swords, like I think that that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to like intellectualize the way you feel or the next steps. And I just don't think that that's the way that you need to go. Like the way that you need to go is you need to get back in touch with how you actually feel, as opposed to how you think you should feel or who you think you should be. But the Five of Swords on the bottom here, there is like a lot of conflict, and it does feel like it's just because of how people perceive you. You're feeling conflicted because of the expectation of what people want you to be versus who you want to be and who you are. But that is your reading. I'm gonna cut it off because I feel like I've talked enough. I'm sorry your reading got really out of hand. It got super duper long, but couldn't help myself. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope it resonated. And I know I rambled forever, so I hope it made sense. And maybe I'll see you at the next reading. Bye.